Cool. So welcome to episode 4 of the Steed Cycles Podcast, everyone. Today I'm joined by Micayla Gatto. She is an ex-World Cup downhill racer turned freeride mountain biker. She's a Crankworx announcer, amongst other things, and she's originally from West Van. Hey, Micayla, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. How are you doing today?
Good. Yeah, real good. Nice little morning.
Yeah. So I'm going to get right into it. So you used to be a World Cup downhill racer, was it 8 years ago now?
2014 was my last season, so 6 years ago.
Okay, cool. I vaguely remember that was about when I was getting into watching the World Cup, and I remember you being on the on the list quite a few times, and then kind of disappeared. What happened there?
I just disappeared off the face of the earth. It kind of is true. So 2014, I've been racing since almost, I guess, 9 years, including my junior years. Felt like I was kind of plateauing. I'd always kind of been around that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th spot. Was still enjoying it a lot, but I ended up crashing actually really, really badly at the Wyndham World Cup. And I got an insanely bad concussion, tore my shoulder, and I still don't know what I did to my hip, but kind of destroyed my hip. And so I was forced to take some time off. In that time off, I realized that maybe racing wasn't fulfilling my hopes and dreams anymore. I got on a World Cup podium. I won nationals a bunch of times. I accomplished a lot of things that I wanted to accomplish, but I don't think I ever really had the drive or the desire to really give up everything to try and get to that top 3 spot. Because it takes so much more. To do that jump from top 10 to top 3 is a lot of support, commitment, dedication, and I just found it wasn't creative enough. So I decided I took the year off because of my head, and then I was like, you know what, I want to try and combine my skills as an artist and a creative and my skills as an athlete and make something work there. So I started getting into the media side of things. Started trying to make some movies and edits, that kind of thing. And the free riding just sort of took off, and I'm loving it. I do miss the racing, but I love what I do now. It's the coolest job you could ever have. So that's kind of how it came about. It was also I didn't want to risk hitting my head again because the post-concussion symptoms are pretty chronic. So yeah, it was sad. I was super sad. I still miss it, but I think it was the right decision.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've done a bit of racing in my time, strictly really amateur. I'm not a racer at all, but man, it's hard. It's really hard to get in that headspace, and then to give it your all. You've got to be it's risk or reward, right?
Yeah, totally. It's such a beautiful thing. It's to be in that headspace and to be a racer is once you get up to that World Cup level, and if you can get enough support where all you have to focus on is your training and your effort and your riding, it is such a cool state of mind that you enter and that you kind of live in. I found it kind of, it was stressful as hell at races for sure, but knowing your purpose and being told what to do and knowing okay, I've got these 6 races, these are my goals, these are the quantifiable results that I can get from these goals, and these are the times don't lie, we're all on this track together. You can compare yourself to yourself and to others, and I don't know, it's it's really cool not having to worry about anything else but just riding your bike as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's super cool. But yeah, the creative stuff is also really cool. Being able to pick where you go and what story you want to tell and a kind of like what message you want to speak to people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the racing's crazy, man. I see footage of racing now, and I'm like, did we go that fast? Like that's really freaking fast. Like I forget how fast it is, like, because I haven't done it in 6 years. I'm like, damn. Because like when you're free riding, you're never going to push yourself as hard as you are as like you would in a World Cup race. Like there's nothing that compares to it.
Yeah. And I feel like they're only getting faster these days too, you know.
Oh, yeah. Like the tracks, like in 2014, the tracks were starting, I'd say it was like a couple years where the tracks were like widening and like getting straighter and wider and faster, and like the big jumps were kind of like a bottom feature at every race. Whereas like when I started, tracks were way narrower. There was way more technical stuff. It was like the top speeds, I would say, were slower just because of the way the tracks were built. And now like some of those race courses are like freaking highways. You're like going, I don't even know how fast people go, like over 80K now. It's like,
yeah, I don't like those kind of trails, honestly. I feel like, you know, you crash on something like that and you're going to hurt yourself way more.
oh yeah. The speed of, crashing at those speeds is no bueno. But yeah, I also really liked, like, my best results at World Cups were like the Bromont World Cup, Val di Sole World Cup,
Okay.
and Anne World Cup. So like the really technical races, or like Mont Saint Anne, it's just like really long and like technical, and it usually was super muddy. And like those are the races that I excelled at, just from growing up on the shore. Like you live on the shore, you know, it's just slow routes, technical, like the fast high speed jump tracks were just so alien to me.
Yeah, I'm not used to jumps. There's like maybe 3 jumps on the North Shore, you know.
Yeah, that's by far my biggest weakness. Like well, climbing. I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, climbing and jumps, I need to really work on those things, because the technical descents and all that kind of stuff. Skinnies, I'm really good at skinnies.
I've gotten quite good at skinnies this last year since I've been here, funnily enough.
Yeah,
You learn to love them.
Yeah, I love skinnies. They're great. Throw skinnies in a World Cup race. I'd win every time. No. Yeah, the jumps are, there isn't really anything like that on the Sea to Sky except Whistler, and they're starting to be a bit more, but
Squamish has got some jumps now.
Yeah, nothing like DH massive things though.
Yeah, no crabapple
All, like,
kind of
fun jumps. Yeah. Yeah.
I came to Canada thinking, man, I'm gonna get really good at jumps. No.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my goal. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go today. I was thinking that I'm like, okay, I got a Zoom meeting, then I'm gonna go to the gym, then I'm gonna go practice jumping. Like, why the hell am I gonna do that? Okay, I gotta like think somewhere.
Whistler opens in a couple of weeks.
Does it?
Yeah, they just announced today, 29th of June.
Oh, no way. Yeah, because I'm hearing rumors. Did it say in the announcement at all, like, what the rules are going to be?
It did. I didn't have enough time to read all of that. That was a lot.
Because, like, I feel like, no, I'm just going to screw this up. I've just been hearing all these kinds of rumors where, like, oh, you have to pre-book. Oh, you're only allowed 3 hours. Oh, there's only going to be blue runs open. I heard you can't get seasons passes. Well, I heard that, like, it's just
I don't think it was anything like that. It was like, you know, you have to wear masks in enclosed areas and on lifts maybe and stuff like that. Like,
oh my God, I will dive joy if all the trails are open. I am so excited. I have a downhill bike for the first time in 6 years. That is a functioning downhill bike, and I just want to ride park. That's all I want to do.
Nice. I don't blame you.
Yeah, It's been too long. I need to get used to a downhill bike again. I'm like really excited about it.
Man, I haven't ridden one since, when did I last own one? Maybe like 7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a super old Diamondback freeride bike, like downhill bike, the same one that Kelly McGarry rode at Rampage like
Oh yeah,
8 years ago or something.
that's cool.
I had that one.
Do you ever go to the bar in Queenstown where that bike is hanging up, by the way?
Yes, I
So
did.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so I rode that, not that exact bike, but the same bike, at Formation this last fall, and that was my second time riding a downhill bike in I think 6 years, and it just this like not women's rampage, but like the free ride camp thing, and it was that was the tip. I was like, I need a new bike, and I love Diamondback, but any bike that's like 8 years old kind of needs, because they stopped making them, so it was literally like 8 years ago, and technology has advanced since. But yeah, it was that was scary.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were riding that, like a bike that old at Formation.
Yeah, if you listen to the raw footage, I needed to service it really badly, but I didn't, and it just sounds a bit like a shopping cart. It's like like as I'm going down the mountain, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should have like probably should have greased some bearings.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Formation anyway. So that was like the women's Rampage event. It was last year, right?
Yeah, I think it was. What were we supposed to call it? I forget what we were supposed to call it. We weren't supposed to call it Women's Rampage. It was like Women's Free Ride event.
On the old Rampage site there.
Yeah. It was on the 2015 Rampage site.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I remember all the media for that, and I was like, man, is there going to be like a live stream or anything like that? And the photos looked super cool. Like it looked awesome.
Yeah.
Was there like any plans to kind of ramp that up this year or anything like that?
I am not 100% sure. I just got brought on as one of the 6 girls who got invited to ride. From all the meetings we had as a group, I think we really liked the fact that it wasn't a competition, just because all of us, I mean, I don't compete anymore, but like Tawny and Vaya and Vinny and Barrow and those lots of V names, like it was just so cool that we're all from like different aspects of riding. Like Vero comes from like the jumping jibby kind of stuff, and then like Vaya and Tawny are like racers. I'm like an adventure free rider. Hannah Bergman's like an adventure free rider, enduro racer, and like we were all just put together in this environment where we were allowed to pick our own lines, build our own features, and like push each other and help each other. Whereas like if it was a competition, you get like highly competitive professional athletes together and then you make it a competition. I don't think we would have come together and pushed each other and encouraged each other as much as we did, because it would be like there would be this like, at the end of the day, one of us is going to win. So like I'm going to focus on me and like what I have to do to be the best.
Yeah.
Whereas like it was still that, but it was also like I'm going to focus on me being what I have to do to be the best, but also like come on and do it with me, and like let's do this together, because we're both kind of scared and we're all like we're all kind of out of our element here. I think Hannah was one of the only people who'd spent some time digging in Utah and riding in Utah before, whereas the rest of us were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing and crazy, and we don't know what the dirt's gonna do. So like, yeah, we all kind of like linked arms and we're like, let's do this.
That's awesome.
Which I thought was really, really cool and really beautiful. And the first time ever that I'd like been able to hang out with like those girls who were all really, really good friends. Like we're all best friends kind of, but the first time that all of us have been together in a non-competitive environment. And it was really, really, I don't know. I loved that part about it. I thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. It looks from the outside, because obviously I don't know. It like from the outside it looks like women's like racing is a lot different to men's racing that way anyway. Like I find that the men are like super competitive, and like they, you know, quite often they won't even talk to you. They won't, you know, they don't want to share their lines or whatever. And it looks like the women in racing are like a lot more there for each other and kind of help each other out a lot more, like from what I've seen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely like nuance. Like there's definitely like people that are better friends than others, and there's some beef, I guess, but like that's competition, you know, like it's always going to be competitive. But for the most part, I'd say like, yeah, all the girls get along. And I think because there's less of us, at least in the when I was racing, I mean, this is 6 years ago that I'm like referencing being at races, but it's like, yeah, you kind of like with the guys, I feel like it's easier for the guys to just stick in their teams because there'll be like 2 guys or 3 guys on a team and 1 girl on like a factory team. Whereas like, so they've got like their other guy friends to like compare notes and talk to and stuff. Whereas like the girls, a lot of the time, like I don't know if there is a factory World Cup factory race team where there's more than 1 girl on the team.
I can't think of one.
I don't know. Yeah, usually it's just 1. So then we're kind of like on our own. So then we kind of want to compare notes and like share feelings a little bit, because it's like, am I crazy? Am I the only one feeling this? Am I the only one who's scared to like hit this jump? Or I wonder what the other girls are doing. And then you just kind of like leave your teams and are like, hey, so how about the track? And then you like bond, you know? And then I think that's why a lot more of the girls are friends. No, the guys are friends too, but I think the girls just create maybe closer. I don't know. Because I'm like contradicting myself. I'm just trying to think. Like, yeah, maybe it's been so long. There's definitely guys that are like best friends on the race circuit that like hang out even if they're not on the same team. They're like still super good buddies. But I think, yeah, just because there's less women, we just naturally come together. Yeah, but it's cool. We're all friends, that's for sure. Yeah, I love all those girls. They're rad.
That's awesome. Who do you ride with the most, like out of that kind of bunch?
Here, nobody. I'm moving to the interior in September, and to the same town where Via Verbeek and Casey Brown live.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to do a lot more riding with them once I move there. I try and stop by because my boyfriend lives in the interior, so I have to drive by Via's house every time I go through. So I try and stop, and we either have coffee and like hang out, or we'll hit her pump track, or like we'll go for a ride or go for a road ride or whatever we can. We try and like do a little ride and a little hangout and a catch up. But in Squamish, there isn't, because like Miranda Miller is with like Remy, and they're very much on their own like enduro racing training programs. ALN, I've ridden with a few times now. She's super fun. And then Haley Elise and Ollie Jones, I ride with them all the time. And they're like, Haley's like a photographer and a free rider, and Ollie as well. So they're more along the same lifestyle path. Like we're gonna like, we go like off-roading and go camping and free riding for the weekend, whereas like it's harder to do that with like Miranda and stuff because they're like doing hill intervals and like Stravaing laps and stuff. And it's just not the same. We're not on the same training programs.
Yeah.
So kind of hard, but yeah, that's kind of who I ride with the most now. yeah, we don't, like I said before, you don't really get a chance to link up with all those girls.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I guess they're all from different corners of the
yeah, I know
world.
Tawny and Vero ride together a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then Casey and I ride together a lot because they live in Coldstream, and I'll hopefully be riding with them. But yeah, it's like everyone's so spread out. Hard.
Yeah, that's fair. I remember was it two years ago now? Your Photo Girls video came out.
I think that's almost 4 years, 3
Is
years.
it that long? Jeez.
This is 2017. Yeah, Ferta Girls was kind of the turning point for me with the whole like leaving racing, entering the media side of things. It happened at a time when I actually didn't have any bike sponsors, and I was pretty much going to give up on the whole thing. Like I'd taken a year off.
Mm-hmm.
I'd gotten 17. Yeah, so I took 2015 off. 2016 I got sponsored. 2017 I got dropped. Because 2016 I was like, okay, I want to do this media thing, but I don't know how, and I didn't have any like support, like no budget or anything to like create anything. So I was a bit like, I don't know what to do. And then 2017 I had no sponsors, and then I got this random invite being like, hey, do you want to be part of Dirt Diaries? And I was like, yes. So then I called up the IFHT crew and was like, I want to do something with you guys because I've worked with you guys before, and I just know I want it to be funny, and I know I want it to be impactful. And they were like, well, why don't you do like an all girls women's thing? And in my head I automatically thought like all girls women, like tutus, you go girl. And I was just like, I'm like, it's not really like who I am. And they're like, yeah, but you make it who you are. And I was like, wait, yeah, I'm in control of this. Like I can make this how I want it. And yeah, it was like a total collaboration from the boys and me. And I wrote the lyrics and they came up with like which song, and yeah, it all just came together. And that was kind of like what put me back on the map, I think.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, I was like, oh, I haven't heard that name for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, where'd she go? Because I mean, I disappeared for a whole year. And then 2016, I filmed some stuff. Like I did the Red Bull intersection. I don't know if you've seen that one. I'm like riding through my artwork.
Yeah, I saw that. That was cool.
Yeah, so I'd filmed that at that point, but it hadn't come out yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was actually like 2 years before I had done anything. So I think people were like, yeah, she's done sort of thing. And then Ferta Girls came out, and then Intersection came out in September in Banff, and it won Best Mountain Sport Film Award and went on to the world tour. And then those two things, suddenly it was like, hey, we'd love to have you on the team. I'm like, yes, I've redeemed myself. Like I'm like, need to prove myself. So yeah, and then from there, everything's just taken off. So
mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy how like a couple videos can totally change the trajectory of your career.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at Danny McCaskill, right? Do you remember when his first video came out?
Yeah.
And that was like overnight success.
Was that the road like party tribute that he did with the other guy?
No, he released like one self-filmed video in Edinburgh. It was about 10 years ago. It was like when he was riding for Inspired Bikes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was just like really sketchily filmed, but amazing riding.
Yeah, he is unreal. Him and Fabio Vilma.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like they're the two most like unique content producers right now, for sure.
Yeah,
like
they're really fun to
so
watch.
creative. And then like Danny McCaskill made trials riding cool again. It's like Great, like, and then Fabio's kind of got like, he's just got like the trials, but he also has like the massive sends, and then like his like Candide-esque snow biking video. That was my first one that I saw of Fabio, and I was like, what?
Yeah, sending like 80-foot gaps in the snow.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I get that snow isn't as gnarly as dirt, but like, what the hell is this guy doing? This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I would love to get onto that level of coolness, but I think I gotta get jumping more.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
you could drop out of a helicopter into crabapple. That could work.
That could work. I would rather, honestly, I would feel more comfortable dropping out of a helicopter into like a shale slope. That would be really cool. I could do that. Yeah, dropping into a jump line, I think, would be a little over my head at this point.
All right, well, I want a little bit of credit on your next video if you do that.
Okay. Now I'm thinking, I'm like, would that work? Because helicopters aren't very big. You like couldn't really get on the bike to like pedal out of it. You'd need like a pretty big helicopter, like wide helicopter.
Didn't Fabio do that in that video, and he was like sitting on the bike but dangling from a rope or something like that?
Maybe he was sitting on the rail of it or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then you'd have to do like an acid drop where you like have the bike and you're not on it, and then you jump, and then you like jump like onto the pedals. I think it's called an acid drop.
Is that what that's called?
I'm not sure. It's what I call it.
Like that Brandon Semenuk section in Unreal where
you like jump and like.
Yeah.
Is that the anthill one where he switches bikes, the one take?
Yeah.
That is a cool segment too. Brandon Semenuk as well. Oh my God. His content is insane all the time.
He makes like the gnarliest stuff look like a walk in the park. It's crazy.
Oh, he's like beautiful to watch. It's like a freaking ballerina on a bike. It's crazy how effortless he makes things look. And like the guy can do no wrong. He's now racing like Subaru rally races with Travis Pastrana on like the pro team.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
It's just like casual. Just thought I'd pick this up.
Yeah, why not?
Like the best in the world at this too now. It's all good. No biggie.
Man, there are those people that are just naturally talented at like whatever they want to do, right?
Yeah, man, I gotta give it to Brandon though. Like I've known him since we were like high school, like early high school, where we were like racing cross country together.
Oh yeah.
And that guy's dedication and determination and like perfectionism, like he will do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Like he's just like, he will practice something until it just becomes muscle memory. Like he's so dedicated to perfection in his sport. He's like, it's really cool. Like his work ethic is insane.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend about this recently, and like I was like, that's the difference between these pro riders and us, like me and my buddies. It's like they'll sit there for an entire day practicing one feature for like, I don't know, 1,000 goes. I probably give up after 5 or 6. I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's definitely that extra determination and dedication that separates the pros from the amateurs. That's for sure.
You've got to want it.
Oh yeah. Not even seeing it as a chore. It's like seeing it as like a necessity, like a necessary step, and you kind of take away the emotional side of it of like, oh, I can't do it. It's just like, do it again, and like that's on a very lesser extent than Brandon Semenuk. That's kind of like what I have to do when I'm filming something, and like it's just like if you're filming or shooting something, you do it until you get it perfect and the photographer or filmer gets it perfect, and that sometimes can take hours.
Yeah.
Like I think there was this one drone shot in Kamloops that we had to like ride this ridge line, and then I mean it's a drone shot. Drone shots are always the worst to redo because they're so long. Then you have to like hike back all the way back up, do it again. And I think we did the same line for over 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Of just trying to get one shot. And then it ended up, they didn't even use it in the edits.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's so frustrating.
it was like, yeah, it's like part of the job.
Yeah, for sure. So with the things that you've done, like for the girls, was like, did you kind of choose to go after like women in mountain biking? Is that something that's been like on your radar for a bit, or was that just kind of was it like a one-off?
Like, well, so for the girls, if you read the lyrics, it's literally just a chronological story of my personal experiences as a female in mountain biking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of all it was. Like, I just wanted to tell my piece and say a couple of the frustrations that I've heard amongst the other girls and myself for years about like the clothing or whatever, as of just like the choices and the pressures and like to wear bikini and be hot to get sponsored and like all this stuff and like cool platform just suddenly I was this like feminist that like and I was like, well, I mean, I'm just telling it like, uh-oh, says unstable internet.
Yeah, it seems to have gone a bit
weird. But I wouldn't say like what do you mean, like making women's mountain biking a focus? Is that what you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a woman who mountain bikes, so I feel like no matter what I do, it's going to be kind of catering to getting other women to mountain bike. Although I don't consciously go like, oh, what will women like to see? It's like, what would I want to see? Mm-hmm. And then it just so happens that I'm a woman, so chances are other women will want to see it too.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I definitely don't like pander or like cater to like a female market. I just kind of like do what inspires me and what I feel speaks to me, and then or like, yeah, tell my perspective. And a lot of the time, most of the other women who ride can relate. So it's kind of like, I don't know, happy coincidence. It's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, it's cool to see. It's cool to see women doing cool stuff in, mountain biking, and you want to see people like you doing what you're doing, So
yeah,
like as a woman, you want to see other women mountain biking.
totally. Yeah.
So I got a couple of housemates that are girls that ride bikes, and they were like super stoked. They were like, "Oh man, you're gonna chat to Micayla Gatto. That's so cool. Like, she's rad."
That's so funny. Yeah, and I think like in relation to all of that, it's like all the other girls that I ride with, like Casey and Vi and Tawny and Vero and stuff, like we aren't doing things because like, ooh, women mountain bikers, let's like I think our goal as professional mountain bikers is just to like, we do it because we love it, and we're like, we want to normalize women in sport. Like, it's like kind of annoying when people are like, oh my God, it's happening way less now because there's so many women that are riding now, and the level is crazy, and you're getting all these like different profession like branches, which you never saw before. But it's like, whoa, that's pretty good for a girl, or like, oh wow, that's like, oh my God, a woman is mountain biking. It's just like, yeah, we hit jumps, we ride, like, it's not like we just want to be seen as good riders, not like good woman riders. It's like the whole like over celebrating the fact that we have female anatomy is like, it's kind of not, we're not super into that. I think my goal, and I think a goal for a lot of the other girls, is like getting mountain biking to a point where it's like snowboarding, where it's like, yeah, girls do it. Like, it's totally normal. It's not crazy. It's not scary. It's not like overly impressive that a girl can get down a hill fast, you know, like snowboarding. There's so like, you just see a lot of girls that are like just normal everyday girls that aren't trying to be crazy extreme or like have this insane drive and stuff. Like, they just enjoy snowboarding and skiing because like they grew up skiing with their family on the weekends, and that's just like part of their life. It's like, I would love to see mountain biking getting to that point where it's not a boys sport or something that like, oh wow, you're a girl and you're doing this. It's like, that's crazy. It's very dangerous. And like, because I think women are still, a lot of women that I talk to are like still very intimidated by mountain biking because it's been sold as this like extreme sport where you could get really badly hurt for like a really long time. And like, yeah, as a kid in high school and stuff, like I thought, like when I started downhilling, it's like I started listening to heavy metal, wore my hat backwards, had like big t-shirts, was like because like that's how like I had to like embody that, because I thought that that's what I needed to succeed, like to be able to do it mentally. I had to like get into this persona of like, yeah, hardcore. Whereas like I think now it's like you can be girly and you can be like a girl that just like enjoys being outside and likes going hiking and skiing and be a mountain biker. And I think that's more what we're trying to do, instead of like hyping up the fact that we're women on bikes. It's like, yeah, just like, yeah, like not a big deal. Everybody can do it. Like,
I find it can be hard to know how to approach that kind of thing sometimes, because you know, whilst you want to promote that kind of thing and you know, help other minorities get into like sports, at the same time you also want it to be like, oh, whatever, it's, you know, it's no big deal, it's just
it's
a woman on a bike.
And the opinions, like that's purely just my opinion and the opinion of like a couple other girls that are in the industry as professionals. But like there's definitely a huge need, I think, for the like beginner clinics and the like, woo, yeah, girl, like you go, girl, yeah, chica, like, yo, that kind of stuff, like the cheerleader side of things.
Yeah,
like, I think a lot of women do need that to get into the sport, because it's like it does still have this like scary kind of element to it. But for me personally, I think the industry is going in totally the right direction, where you open a free hub and there's a Trek ad and Casey's the rider in the Trek ad. And it's not like women's specific, Casey Brown riding women's bikes. It's just like Trek, ride fast, or whatever their slogan is, or whatever. And it's just Casey. And it's like, that is sick. Like, that is so sick that it's not like putting her as like, oh, we're using a woman because it's a woman specific thing. It's like, we're using Casey Brown because she's a freaking amazing rider. This shot is so sick, and we're going to make it a double page spread in a magazine for our Trek ad over a dude. Like, it's like even playing ground.
I like what Trek have done, actually. I think it was last year or the year before, they just got rid of all their women's bikes.
Yeah.
Because there was like a bunch of research done, and like aside from the obvious anatomical differences, women proportionally in terms of like arm, leg length, whatever, weren't as different as they kind of thought. So like, we don't need these women's bikes.
Yeah, I think like from a marketing perspective, maybe it was like I think it was good that it happened, that all the companies started doing women's specific stuff, because I think it did make women feel more like, oh wow, we're being seen, we're being heard. Me personally, I'm 5'9", I've got decent sized hands, and I weigh more than most guys my height. It's like, I never saw the point in women's specific stuff, because I'm like almost as big as some of my guy friends. Like, I'm not I could see if you're 5'2", but like then I think you should just make extra small bikes and extra large bikes, because there's little guys out there too. Like there's guys at 5'5" and stuff, and they don't want to, like, they're like, what the fuck do I ride? Because like I don't want to ride a purple bike because it's the only thing that fits me. Like that's or like whatever, you know, like a women's specific bike called like the Betty Boop or something. It's just like, it's like little dudes, really big dudes, little women, really big women. Like, why don't you just make a bigger range of sizes for the bikes? If you want to be specific, it's like, well, be specific in that sense, not like women and men, separated genders.
I kind of like what Santa Cruz have done there. They have like the whole range of sizes in Santa Cruz bikes, and we get a lot of women buy those because like whatever, it's just it's a bike. But then they have the Juliana brand, which is just like smaller sizes, and I think a lot of people I think it's more about the culture than anything else. Yeah,
and it is like, I'm so torn with the thing, because I'm like, oh yeah, just make it normal, whatever, don't treat us riders. But then I'm also like, ooh, the mustard yellow with like the like nice writing, like, oh, that's actually really nice. Like, it is nice to have some feminine, more suede, feminine bike. But maybe it's like, well, maybe some dudes like the mustard yellow too. So it's like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, or like pink. Like I have guys being like, I wish they made burgundy like wine colored kits for dudes. And I was like, I know. It's like, I think we're all like, we want what we don't have, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like the guys will be like, well, I want a pink jersey. And I was like, well, I want a black jersey. So I think it's a cool reflection. I think it's like a magnified, more polarized reflection of like society as a whole and what we're learning as a society with gender roles, like what that means, what that is identified with. And then you see it in the bike industry kind of being like, ooh, like women specific. Oh no, maybe that's wrong. And like, it's cool to see like a literal translation of the mountain bike world learning about all of this social aspects of things, but you see it in literal products, and you see it in the way that it kind of like shifts and shapes, and kind of feel it out as time goes on. And I think now it's getting into which is amazing, which they should have done from the beginning, but it's like, okay, first there wasn't very many women doing it. Okay, so how do we get more women doing it? And now they're realizing with like Black Lives Matter movement and everything, they're like, well, wait, there's like pretty much just like mostly white people doing this. Okay, shit, like how do we like make this more inclusive for like diversity and like the POC community, instead of just like white men? It's like, okay, white men and women. Okay, wait, no, like everyone. Okay, wait, how do we do this? So it is cool, like watching it evolve over time from like 2003 or 4 when I started getting into it to 2020, how it's like
I feel like the sport's changed a lot in that time, honestly. There's like
it's insane.
So many more women riding now, which is awesome.
People in general.
So many more people riding, so many more people with different like ethnic minorities, I've found. And like you look at the product, you look at the adverts and stuff. Like, you remember the old Marzocchi adverts with like pretty.
I mean, that's like a huge section of Further Girls was like about the bomber girls.
Yeah.
They actually at one point hired porn stars to like for their ads. And then you look at now and it's like Vero and me and like all these girls, women like on Marzocchi and like being showcased for their abilities, not, you know, hiring models to wear a wet t-shirt and stick between their boobs. It's changed a lot.
And that wasn't even that long ago when you think about it. Like in mountain biking, it's a bit of a while, but like in the general scheme of things, it's really not that long.
I think that was like 2000. I don't know, was that like 2000? I remember my brother having posters of the bomber girls in his
That would have been like early 2000s for sure.
Yeah, like 2004, 3, 2. But then again, like you look at the rest of the world and what everyone was doing. And like, I think Marzocchi was taking a lot from the car industry and the moto industries. And it was like the Monster girls, the Red Bull girls, the promo girls at like all of the car shows and like Interbike, like all this stuff. That was just kind of like the culture and what was happening. So at the time, yeah. And like now I remember like last year, Theater, there was two promo girls for this sunscreen or sunglasses thing. And they were like literally the only promo girls in the entire venue. Like they just don't exist anymore. And they were wearing these like little tops and kind of like, I think they were wearing bikinis maybe, I can't remember. And the men, like I got more comments from dudes being like, oh my God, those poor girls. Like that's so awkward. That's just like not acceptable anymore to be like objectifying women like this to sell a product. And like hearing the men being like, is that like PC? Whereas like 10, 15 years ago, you'd be like, that was just like part of the show, you know? So yeah, it's really cool to see how it's changed. And, you know, as an industry and a society, we're learning.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's in the right direction.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. We're working on it.
Yeah. These last few months have been eye-opening for sure. Like the last few weeks even. Yeah.
A lot of education, which is so amazing. Like I said, it should have been happening earlier. But hey, like, hey, I don't know what's changed this time. Like with the Black Lives Matter movement, it's like people have been rioting and protesting and trying to stand up for their rights for hundreds of years, at least 60 years. And it's like, I think with social media and like smartphones and stuff, like being able to record what's actually happening and like the way something can spread virally is like been amazing for these kinds of movements, like the Me Too movement with women speaking out about abuse and stuff in the workplace, and then now Black Lives Matter. It's like, I'm going on a tangent, but it's just really cool that like I've been so into it and learning so much because like the resources are suddenly, because of social media, are just like there it is, it's in your face. It's like everybody has, not everybody, but like most people have a phone, most people have Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and it's like before, I think it was a lot harder to get these messages out and be able to share these messages and share your opinions.
And now we're just so much more connected.
Yeah, and I think that's been like a huge difference this time around versus like the Trayvon Martin stuff even just 8 years ago. I think a lot of people are just hearing about that now because of the power of social media. And I think the population has discovered that the individual voice actually does make a difference when it has been put into a collective. So it's like, cool to see society learning as well that like we don't have to just wait for government and other people of power to like make decisions for us.
Well, I mean, they won't do anything without us.
Yeah, exactly.
Forcing them to do it.
Power to the people.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been cool. And then I think the industry, like everything trickles down, right? Like the bike industry feels it too, because I think authorities are just like corporations and stuff are way more, I mean, they've kind of been forced to be open and willing to change and learn because there is such this drastic, like this big platform that kind of like, if the community decides to shine a spotlight on you and they decide that this is what you're doing and what you're doing is wrong, it's like, you're toast if you don't listen. Yeah,
it's so easy to call companies out on, you know, on their bullshit these days.
And I think it can be, I think for the most part it's positive, but I think sometimes social media can be bad with the like misrepresentation or like misinformation of like what, you know, like a parent company owns these 5 companies, and one of those, like I think this happened with Camelback, and it's like this parent company owned these companies. One of those companies was a gun company, also Camelback. But then everyone was like, Camelback supports guns. And they're like, but no. Like, we just have the same boss. We're not like.
I think that was Giro and Bell, wasn't it?
Yeah, that too. I don't know. There's been a few. I might, like, don't quote me on any of this because I probably will screw it up. But like, that's just kind of what I understood from it. And I think like, in like some scenarios, it can hurt the company. Like, they didn't have anything to do with it, but then it all worked itself out and the big parent company dropped the gun company, and then everybody was happy. And like, I guess they kind of got what they wanted in the end, and everybody recovered and realized that it wasn't like what it initially thought it was. But I think for the most part, it's positive that, you know, we're able to, as a community, speak our minds and share ideas and voice our concerns.
People have to be more transparent now, I think, these companies, which is great.
Yeah, a lot more transparent. Yeah, adapt or lose it, I guess.
Yeah.
Adapt to the times or not, or go bankrupt. It's that easy.
Pretty much. I feel like we could talk for hours, but there's a lot going on here and I kind of have to go.
Yeah. Are you at Steed or like?
Yeah. I'm in the boss's office right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You feel? You feel important?
A little bit. I'm not in the power seat though, so okay. I'm sitting next to his seat.
Okay. Respect. That's good.
All right, awesome. Thanks for that. It was fun to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. Have a great day, and maybe we'll see you on the shore riding sometime.
Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds good, man. See you
All right,
later.
thanks. Catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.